Greetings, Evil Dead fans. So let's talk a little bit about the next step of this process. As you can see, I've already begun painting the cover. So the left side represents what we started with. So that's the way it came to me. That was the coated in liquid latex. This is the liquid latex we're talking about. It's just standard stuff you can get from your Party City or whatever. So it's pretty easy. It's the stuff used with makeup. You just coat the bastard a bunch of times and it gives you your liquid latex. It also has a bit of a translucent quality, which is why you want to do a wash when you paint this. So you want to do layers and layers and layers of a wash. You don't just want to use straight up acrylic. When we look again at my cover, the straight up acrylic gives it a very, very surface painted look. It has more of like what I prefer the leather look to be. So that is sort of the reason why we're doing it differently with this, because this is going to be closer to what Tom Sullivan had in his. So we're going to do the style that was used there, which is a better style. So what you can use, if you don't know how to make a wash, there's crap shoe polish. This stuff is so bad you'd never use it on your shoes because it's so watered down, but it makes for great weathering. I've used it on a bunch of my projects. You've seen it. So what we have on the side here, this actually represents about 4 or 5 layers of actual shoe polish weathering. And this side's blank. You remember, we're going to put an ear in here, and I'm going to show you how to do that on the next video. We're going to do that together. But I wanted to give you a quick rundown on how we're coating this with the shoe polish. If you want to go a little more pro, take your black paint or your brown paint or whatever mixture you're coming up with. Take liquid latex, do them in a 1-to-1 mix, so 50% this, 50% this, then distill that mixture down with 50% water. So make one mix. So if I were to use Dixie cups, for example, 1-to-1 ratio of my acrylic and my liquid latex, then a brand new Dixie cup of distilled water of the same volume, and then we're going to mix it together. Mix it by volume, not by weight. That's not going to help you. You're going to end up with like this much water. That much water. So the other thing worth mentioning is when you're doing this, well, I guess with your initial one you can streak, it's okay. But usually I say don't streak, splotch, because streaking sucks and splotching good. So we're going to do that. And as you can see, we get ourselves a little bit of a color there. And that's one layer. And you can see a little bit of the stuff. So I'm just going to splotch. Again, splotching, not wiping. Why don't you wipe? This is why you don't wipe. Goes away. Now, actually, that is advantageous for us because, you know, we're going to put the ear in here. So I'm actually going to leave that space untouched. And I'll get back to that later. So you do a wash, you let it sit, then you go with your next color. If I wanted to, for example, darken it up a little bit around the edges, I go in with some black, go in irregularly in certain spots so it kind of looks weird. And you let that sit. And so, maybe a little bit more brown on that side. And that's a layer. And you're just going to let that sit. And then I'll come back to it tomorrow. It'll be totally dry. And then I hit it with another, and I hit it with another, and I hit it with another. And that's how you end up with this. So that's how we're doing it. Again, your best friend is a nice cloth rag and the shoe polish. If you don't want to wait, the paint is better. You can hit the paint with a standard heat gun. Doing the wash with your own creation that way, the liquid latex will help the paint adhere to the existing latex. That's how you paint latex masks and things. It's a great way to do it. I highly recommend doing it that way. But most of the people who are going to do these DIY builds, you know, we don't have money. So if you're not mixing your own stuff and you don't have all the supplies, you don't have airbrushes. I mean, I've got like 3 or 4 of them sitting around here somewhere. But you just got to use what you can. So this is a perfectly economic way to do this. I mean, this whole thing of latex will last you a while, and it's like 20 bucks, not even. And then these guys are like $3 each. And you can paint a lot of stuff that way, and I use it, like I said, for a lot of weathering and grunging. So one layer, and we're just going to go back through it over and over again. The big thing is you'll notice, if I can avoid the shadow, it really gets into the nooks and crannies and makes it have some depth. So, and then the best part is, this catches light a lot of different ways, and you can actually like when you set this up and display it in your house, you can light it to your preference. Now, I paint 2 different ways. I paint things that are going to be photographic and things that are going to be real world impressive. Sometimes when you do a paint job and you're just going to have it in your house or display it and you want to look at it, it's not going to be the same thing as when it's like a photographic type paint job. So like this guy is painted to be photographic. So no matter where I put it or how I light it, you know, it kind of, you can see that it pops. Even if I stick like half of his face in the shade, you can see the details and stuff. This is meant to photograph. This is meant for me and my cosplay and, you know, when I do photography with it. Brett's is going to sit in his house, so his needs to look good just in a real-world scenario. It's going to be lit. It's probably going to be displayed with one of his chainsaws, so we're going to paint this with real-world painting in mind. And you can do that, too. It's really, really simple. Like I said, a couple of basic products and just a little bit of patience. Get a rag, get some shoe polish, get some liquid latex. Where's my latex? And you just do that, and you, like I said, you just build. And like I said, the biggest thing you can wait for is the drying. If you rush the drying, you're going to wipe off all your paint, and it's going to go away, and you're going to get frustrated. You can buy Model Hobby, let's see if I can get this thing to focus, Model Hobby washes. They make them already. This is Secret Weapon washes. I get this at a local miniature place that play like Warhammer and stuff. But they're very small, they're very expensive, and I don't recommend them for big projects, but you can use them to like blood gunk your pages a little bit and things like that. We actually did use a little bit of that on the Kundarian dagger. So that's what we're doing. That's how we're going to do this step by step. The next step will be to take our trusty hot glue gun, make the ear, and coat that with a little bit of latex, and then finish the paint job on the outside, bind the inside, paint the inside, and go from there. So I'll see you on the next run.